So we're tackling the lower control arm bushing at the strut fork. So this bushing is in actually great shape, but I got new parts, I'm replacing it. First thing I was going to do was to press it out with this style of clamping press. And due to the limitations of this kit, didn't really have something small enough on the back side due to the bushing sticking out. So what I've done is supported the LCA and pushed in the bushing because it was in the way. Once I back this out, I should be able to then put a piece up against the sleeve, the metal part, and be able to push that out. So I'm gonna go ahead and give that a try. This is the setup I'm using, and it's already gone through. I'm just backing it out now. I'm using a jack to kind of help me because these things are kind of awkward and not well balanced and can be difficult. So let's see if I can get this out. So that's what I've done. I have got the parts in the freezer. I'm working on this side. Push that bushing to the outer edge here where I have much more clearance to work with these bigger components. I don't have something shorter than this, so it's about, I don't know, 2 or so inches. Let's see what we got as a measurement. Yeah, so that particular one is, looks like 2 and a quarter. 2 1/4 inner, excuse me, it says 2 1/4 by 3. So I would imagine this is 3 wide by 2 1/4, or vice versa. So take it as you will. A little bit of information, maybe that'll help you. So I'm going to go ahead and use the attachment here like this to support the LCA, and then I'm hoping that this will slide in and I can use this to push out the metal sleeve. So let's give that a try. Okay, so we've got everything fitted quite well now that the bushing is out of the way. I was able to slide this and it fits the diameter quite well around the sleeve on the back side. And this is the one from the other side that I had to cut out and smash out because it was so seized. But anyway, so we've got this with the attachment here. Let me see if I can give you any information. The one is called the removal adapter, and the other is called the install adapter on this kit. I have the, I believe it is the removal. Install is on this side and removal is on this side. This is a 3 inch by, it is a 2 1/4 inch by 3 inch. So hopefully that helps. I am supporting everything. It is tight. Go ahead and crank that down. Do it off camera because it's could take a little while. You don't need to watch that. Okay, so I've cranked down on it quite a bit. As you can tell, I did back it off a little bit, but that gives us a little bit more working space between the clamp. I did feel it squeeze in. The limitations of that install plate there is that it's going to bottom out on that little section right there. So I can't go any further. Let's see if we can find another setup to work. So you can see how far it's pushed itself out, and that's actually quite a bit. You can see the mating surface with the rust there. So I'm gonna go ahead and saturate that with a little bit of fluid and figure out the next setup. There's not much left. Probably a little too dark for you to see. So let's try something else. Okay, getting the last like 1/4 inch of this has been relatively difficult due to the last little bit is kind of difficult with this kit. All these little adapters, even some sockets, I just don't have enough room between the clamp to really get something in there and bite on it and push down. The LCA has that curve here, right there. So every time I get something just right there, bottoms out on this. So we're going to try to saturate it with a little bit more penetrating oil. We're going to try to just give some love taps with a punch and a hammer and just see if I can work the remaining bit out. So let's try something else. Alrighty, so the sleeve of the bushing is out. Honestly, this bushing was probably acceptable. It's probably pretty good. It had probably been replaced at some point. But that's the thing I set out to do, and I got it out. So, how did I do it all? First, I C-clamped it with this. Let's get this out of here. Excuse me. So we have, for the tool specifications, I used a 2 3/4 by 3 inch on the LCA to support, with the adapter for removal. Coupled that together. You can see I've used it and it's been smashed up pretty good. So my overall goal was to remove it on the vehicle. I could have taken this off, excuse the noise of the neighbor's dog. I could have removed this whole LCA and pressed it out, right? Hold on one second. I'm gonna continue with the noise in the background. Oh well. Hopefully it doesn't bug you, and hopefully they take that dog inside. Anyway, so the removal process was to support the LCA with this adapter. I tried using this one because of the open and the curve of the LCA. It was a bit longer, as you can tell, so it was a little tougher to use. I tried that first, didn't work, went with that, and then I used this to press the back of it. Got it almost completely all the way out, with the exception of the last 1/4 inch. What I did from there is tried several different sockets that I've used in the past on different projects that I can slam on and just destroy if need be. Tried that, and the C-clamp style press is just not wide enough to receive all that. So the next thing I went was, okay, I can cut it out, I know how to do that. But I took a chisel here and I slowly worked a couple sides in, and then I took a large punch and I just slowly worked it, and poof, it popped right out. Probably took maybe 5 minutes of just doing that. I even stopped and thought, man, I really should just take it off the car, use my 20-ton press, maybe cut it out. But I wanted to try this as an example. Not everybody's going to have a 20-ton press, and not everybody's going to have the option of taking it off the car or buying a new LCA. So that's what I used. This is out. I destroyed it. You can tell the bushing was actually in pretty good shape comparatively. So excuse the noise. The next option is going to be cleaning up the surface area where this sleeve of the new bushing is going to seat. Clean that up, get it nice and you can use perhaps a light sanding pad or something to clean up the surface area inside the lower control arm. So we'll get that cleaned up. We'll spray it with some lubricant, some penetrating oil, keep it nice and saturated, rust free, and I have the new ones in the freezer to keep them nice and contract. So I've started pressing in the new sleeve and bushing that I've received, and I used a few tools, and I'm going to show you what I used. Of course, we've got some extra lengthy breaker bars to assist us with the torques needed to really crank down on that C-clamp. What I first used to install was, I found that the installation tool right here, right on this, and you can see it's probably potentially been used a little too often, but anyway, that this inner cup here sits perfectly against the new the new bushing. Angle this so I can show you. So you can see that it has that inner sleeve for the bolt, and that was able to sit in there and just cup on real nice and sturdy. I tried a few other options and they weren't very stable. That one was pretty good. So here you've got a perfect tool installation. Receives the giant bolt surface area that goes down. So on that side, and then on the back side, this really was the best option I came up with. Tried a few things, but it has this installation sleeve with the installation tool, and it was able to fit pretty snug. I don't believe I had any interference, maybe just a hair from the location of this due to the slight curve of the lower control arm. So you can tell that these seat in this location here, and they're exposed to the exterior from here to here and on the exterior side here. So you can tell by the rust where they're exposed. So that my first thought was, well, they need to be pressed all the way in. I can't really recall. What would someone do if they don't remember? So I measured these two exterior surfaces and tried to match them up to the LCA as best as possible. So you can see that it's fully seated, and I believe it's completely where it needs to be. It feels and looks as though that was the location when I first removed it. So I'm kind of feeling and measured with the measuring tape just to get a rough estimate. Really think that's going to work. What I'm going to do is, now that that's in, thankfully, yes, because those are a pain. Didn't have to remove it off the vehicle. That's even better. We're going to go ahead and get the new shock strut assembly. We're going to get that up on the upper attachment point up here, and we're going to see if it lines up right where it needs to be. If we don't have a good alignment, we'll just go ahead and, you know, adjust with the C-clamp, that C-press style clamp, as needed. So that's where we are. When I first started installation, you know, I utilized the smaller because you're going to have this. I cleaned up everything. I took the sandpaper, I think it was a 320 grit, and I just went around the inside seating area, and then I greased it up real good and took the new bushing out of the freezer, came outside, mated it up to the LCA, and started pressing it in. And the first probably half went really great, but by that time the heat from just the pressure is probably, or you know, the temperature has risen quite a lot on the metal. I think it's where it needs to be. I'm gonna go ahead and get this lined up and see if we got it. We're doing a quick test fit. First thing I did was take the new strut, put it on top. Came with some brand new nuts, fantastic. Lined it up on the lower section. Cool thing about the new bushing, comes with brand new bolt and nut, which I really liked. That is the number of the product, which I bought off Amazon, was the set for the two front struts. Brand new bolt, brand new nut, something that I really felt after beating up on it and having problems with the first one, I felt that was pretty necessary. I did not apply any type of special grease or anything on there. I just wanted to see if it fit, and it fit, and well, I'll put some on the next one. But it's in there. We're gonna go ahead and get this torque down. Put the torque specs here on your uppers. It'd be a little more difficult with a type of click style. If you have something fancy, maybe you got a crow's foot or anything that could fit in there to get your torque, that'd work great. Lower section, you know, you've got your torque for that. LCA down there, we'll post that there, and then next is reassemble. So I'll go ahead and get the upper control arm back on, put that here with the torque spec. Then we'll come over here and we'll get all these assembled. You've got your strut, sway bar linkage connection there. Good time to replace them if you think they're bad. And then my outer tie rod. I've had these replaced just a couple of years ago, so they're in still really good shape. And I'll get in alignment when this is all said and done, due to the fact that so much is being done. If you were to have replaced the entire bushings on all of the LCA, or the LCA itself, or the lower ball joint, things of that nature, you would definitely want to consider an alignment. So let's go ahead and get all this reattached, then we can work on some brakes.